Okay, Assalamualaikum and selamat sejahtera okay, untuk semua. Alhamdulillah saya berkesempatan untuk share experience saya tentang active learning dalam satu subjek, dalam beberapa lah, tapi matematik subjek lah in a way. Experience ni saya gunakan ExDID Method. Okay, ExDID Method ni if you notice ada dua gambar di situ. Kami buat bersama-sama lah, saya dan Prof Haslinda. Okay. So since kita ada 30 minit je, so saya perlu buat presentation ni dengan seberapa segera mungkin. Okay, so kita mulakan dengan konflik konflik in teaching and learning. If you notice kan, saya pecahkan kepada dua kategori. Saya yang satu generation X dan satu lagi generation Z. Okay, what's the difference between these two generation? Okay, generation X saya assume yang kita sekarang ramai pendidik, okay, guru, lecturer, teachers or whatever ni, kita semua mostly berada pada lingkungan 41 hingga 56 tahun. Okay, kita ada newcomers daripada those coming just fresh daripada training institute, then join us as an academic. Okay, doesn't matter. Yang tu kita ada dalam lingkungan beberapa persen, itu kita panggil dalam generation Y. Okay, tapi saya assume kita ada lebih ramai generation X. That's why saya buat these two comparison, okay, to make things simpler. Okay, so what's the difference between these two generation? Okay, sebab if you notice kan, why this is very important, because dekat kita punya teaching and learning landscape, kita as a generation X, we need to give or convey knowledge kepada generation Z. Okay, which is completely what? Two different generation altogether. The gap tu is a little bit more wider. Okay, in a sense, kita tak boleh guna kategori yang, okay, since I am an old lady, for example, okay, saya dulu makan garam, then I'm assuming people should follow my thoughts or my advice. It does not work that way. Okay, kita boleh menang in a short term, tapi kita kalah in a long term. Okay, so that's why we have to understand each other a little bit more. Okay, the most important part is that us, our generation X, we need to know that we actually grow up with the first PC. Meaning that, maksudnya kalau you perasan kan, you semua akan tahu kita kenal floppy disk. Okay, and then we see the transformation of, katakanlah the collection of data kan, the way we simpan data. Kita tahu the transformation tu. Kita tahu floppy disk, kita kenal CD, kita kenal flash drive yang masa awal-awal kemunculan tu dalam 516 megabyte tu pun punyalah mahal kan, and then later on dia improving a lot, and then kita akan dapatlah sikit kemurahan daripada segi data, and then later kita ada external hard drive which kita dah ada sampai 1T for example. Okay, and then it improve gradually, tapi kita nampak kan the quick transformation from that, and then right now kita ada cloud system. So later I'm not sure what's going to happen next. Tapi if you notice untuk generation Z, they don't even know what is floppy disk. Okay, even sekarang kalau you notice kan, berapa ramai kita punya kids kan yang even tengok pun, macam katakanlah your students for example, they don't even bother untuk ada even external hard disk, kan, even kalau diorang punya PC pun, diorang punya notebook pun, they don't even have a CD slot anymore kan. So most of them have a cloud cloud system. They are comfortable with cloud. They are comfortable sharing things online. Okay, diorang punya phone pun terus equipped with the Google Drive. They can translate their images into Google Cloud for example. Okay, benda tu is like natural for them, but for us, kita akan ada skeptical in the sense of, okay, is it safe? Banyak sangat lah kita punya roadblocks kan. So it is not because of the technology to itself, but it's on how we perceive things based on who we are. Okay, so that is something that we need to understand. Okay, so itu contoh teknologi yang very tech competent. Tapi when you talk about the bukanlah skills, tapi your personality, the way they deal with things kan. Okay, kalau macam generation X, we are more, actually we are more critical thinkers compared to other generation. Okay, tapi kalau macam student Z ni, okay, you notice kan, there are certain elements that they are very strong and we don't. Okay, for example, pragmatic. Kita untuk generation X, we are not that good in pragmatism ni. Kita train ourselves to become pragmatic. We train ourselves to become independence. Tapi for them, that one comes naturally as well. Okay, they prefer independence. Um, they are more welcome to change. Kita kurang welcome to change kan. Okay, I'm not talking about the minus dengan the plus of each generation, sebab kita semua ada kita punya own strength and also our weaknesses. Itu yang kita complement each other. Cuma what I'm trying to stress over here is I want us to understand what is going on. Why sometimes we find it's difficult to convey knowledge. Why sometimes we feel like, oh, why it is difficult for people to understand what I'm trying to say. So there are reasons behind that. The most important part untuk generation Z ni is on their limitation. Dia punya limited attention span tu. Yang tu memang kalau you notice, yang ni memang kita semua can agree on kan. Memang attention span diorang memang very very limited. Tapi they are very multitasker. So that is something yang kita boleh utilize daripada their own advantage ni, dan also disadvantage lah. Okay, tapi yang difficult part is that among all the generation kan, they are one of the loneliest generation, because they are so used to the tech, and they so used with their ni. Ada yang saya baca last time, these are the generation yang dia akan ada problem eye connect ni. So dia punya connection eye to eye ni memang down, sebab normally they tend to look down. Okay, which makes sense kan, because they are using their devices. Okay, so basically, kenapa kita rasa active learning ni is key? Kan, okay, because this is the way moving forward untuk kita reducekan the gaps between the generations. Okay, so bila kita buat active learning kan, okay, saya adopt, saya quote Benjamin Franklin punya information idea or quotes. Dia kata, tell me and I forget me, which makes sense. Teach me and I remember. Okay, remember tu just in a span of short time lah, especially untuk generation Z kan, yang very have a very limited attention span. Tapi when you involve me, then I learn a little bit more. Okay, so involve meaning that you are talking about the experiential learning, kan. So experiential learning ni dia memang tie lah dengan active learning. Okay, so that is the main issue yang I think I would like to really want to highlight here. Kalau tak dapat banyak pun, I think kena dapat active learning tu is a key. Okay, the idea is that we try to improve the knowledge retention tu. Kalau boleh kita tahu, we are aware that they have the limited limited attention span. There's nothing much we can do, tapi kita boleh improvise on that. Kita boleh improve the way they see things, the way they acquire knowledge tu. Okay, so another idea is that kalau katakan kita buat this transformation, this shifting of passive towards active learning, we can transfer the accountability e-learning tu. Meaning that instead of they becoming just an idle punya recipient, now they think, oh, I am responsible for my own learning. So meaning that you are asking them to create content. But definitely, okay, I know bila you start buat this active learning, it does not mean that, okay, you bagi satu task and then leave it. You jump ship. Biar diorang dekat ship diorang masing-masing and see how it goes. No, we don't do that. Kita kena coordinate lah. Kita bagi a very structured way to do things, and then we keep on getting feedbacks, and then we keep on giving not much but a little bit of a push over, kan, so that to at least the shifting of ways to solve things too easier for them. And it's a little bit fair lah for them juga. Okay, so I'm talking about the fundamental dulu lah. Fundamental for the ExDID method. Okay, the main idea of the ExDID method ni is like this. Okay, kita ada dua branch of ilmu. Okay, the first one is engineering. The second one is mathematics. Both are very dry subject, but both are very beneficial subject. Okay, and then these two subject ni dia ada structure. Okay, engineering kita ada 5 different design cycle. Of course, it's a very structured design, and then maksud dia kalau contoh you nak buat jambatan kan, of course you kena go through 5 different very restrictive elements that you need to tick. Kan, benda tu design 1 tick, kedua tick, phase 3, 4, 5 tick, only then you think the project management to run through. The same thing happens to the math. The difference is that math ni dia by the end of the day dia akan dapat katakan one theoretical foundation, and at the same time kadang-kadang dia dapat methodology, tapi dia punya sistem tu is the same, tapi dia bukannya a tangible product kan, compared to the engineering design. So itu yang kita nak cuba tiekan them together, meaning that kita ada a very structured way of doing things. At the same time kita bagi juga kita panggil macam a freedom kan for us to be more creative in solving and in improving solutions based. So benda tu yang kita nak capture daripada combinatorics punya design cycle. Okay, so to make it simpler untuk semua orang boleh adopt this system, kita merge, okay, 5 different cycle and 5 different cycle together, merge them kan together, we come up with 3 different phase. The first phase is explore, the second is discover, and the third is develop. Okay, clear enough Alright, so that is the main intention. Kalau siapa yang nak tahu lebih lanjut, you can go through reference lah. Yang ni lebih detailed information on that. Okay, so yang saya nak highlight dekat sini ialah okay kenapa kita panggil kenapa kita rasa SD ni is the way forward okay, because we would like to capture, okay, we would like to capture this 4C. So this 4C ni, okay, collaboration, communication. Okay, if you notice kan, collaboration dengan communication ni, dia is a very, very, kita kata weakness lah dekat generation Z. Kan, sebab dia loneliest generation, and then dia punya collaboration tu, you tahu kan, bila you nak buat collaboration, you buat teamwork, dia tak sama you buat teamwork guna media sosial kan, yang tu. So yang tu yang kita nak harness, okay. So kita ambil collaboration, communication tu, and then kita tie together with the creativity. Okay, creativity ni kita nak develop dia punya curiosity tu kan. Okay, so that dia boleh dapat capture dia punya creativity, and then we move forward to the critical reflection. Maknanya you always have to do critical things. You assess things critically, and then bila you keep on doing things macam tu, you akan nampak by the end of the day, you sebenarnya develop a structured way of doing things. At the same time, you tak kacau your creativity, dan you tak kisah pun kalau you buat silap. Buat silap yang kisah tu is a very, very important things that we need to harness. It's okay to make mistake, tapi you tahu mistake you tu apa, and then you tahu how to maneuver the mistake. That is the try and error thing that people selalunya shortcut. Okay, so itu yang kita cuba untuk dapatkan semula lah. Okay, so by the end of the day, kita cuba nak create curiosity tu, tarik dia, kita dapat develop the innovative part of daripada semua sektor ni, daripada semua recipient. Okay, so daripada innovative part ni, then only by the end of the day, kita punya end goal, kita akan dapat one beautiful mind. So you imagine kalau lah kita dapat develop kan this beautiful mind ni for each individual dekat kita punya community, and of course dekat kita punya citizen kan, you imagine how we can grow as a nation kan. So that is what I think kalau kita work together, that will make sense lah. It takes time sebab kita akan start from the very early phase lah, tapi we can easily become like macam Korea Selatan with their innovation. Okay, I think that one we need to work through together lah. Okay, so these are the example of the transformation that we mentioned earlier. Dekat kelas ni kan, okay, this is a very large class, so it consists of 200 plus with I think about six classes, 6 small classes, but we put all them together. Okay, in week 1 kan, okay, when we ask them simple question, what is math? Okay, so we notice memang mostly they talk about numbers, calculation, solving. Okay, if you notice yang besar tu, nombor besar tu maksud dia this is the common shared trait yang dia orang pilih. Okay, yang ni kan dia bukannya multiple choices question tau. This one is an open question. So that's why if you notice ada macam numbers ada S dengan number tak ada S kan. So that one maksudnya orang jawab numbers and then orang jawab number dan orang tu ada banyak. That's why it's big. So it's interesting, isn't it? Meaning that what they see math is just numbers. Tapi by the end of the final semester, when we keep on asking the same question, this is what we have now. Okay, so now we are the significant part we have problem solving. And then kita ada fun to learn normal lah. Tapi yang problem solving, common sense and also relatable to life tu is something a shifting information from the previous week 1 to the final week 14. I think that one is a good transformation lah yang kita nak. Okay. Numbers dah tak ada. Kan macam okay, so that is something that I think we need to move forward to this kind of engagement lah. Okay, so this is the hands-on that I would like to share. Okay, in this case since kita ada sikit je masa, so I'm going to really simplify things. Okay, so in our case, okay, before we start adopting to this ExDID method, we look at the first important learning outcomes in our course lah. Okay, so our learning outcomes ni kita ada 4. So bila kita ada 4, kita translate these 4 learning outcomes into ExDID method for problem-based activities. Okay, so kalau you notice kan, our previous assessment, before kita ada assignment, quizzes and tests kan, and then final exam. And then if you notice kan, quizzes, tests, assignment to even, in fact, semuanya memang basically solely on assessment based on macam question answer standard ni lah, standard assessment ni. Okay, tapi bila kita shift into this assessment, kita ada problem based activities. Test tu kita memang reduce a lot. Final exam kita tak boleh tukar lah. Okay, so tapi kan if you notice macam mana you boleh buat benda ni? Yang ni memang kita dapatkan buy-in lah. Kita memang before the class even start, dalam few weeks, satu memang kita dah ready dah even dengan problem based activities, and then kita memang dapatkan the buy-in lah. In this case kami dapatkan the buy-in tu memang from straightly to the top director lah. And luckily we get the buy-in, tapi kita buatlah all the necessary requirement tu lah kan. So nampak okay lah. Alright. So yang tu yang I would like to highlight lah. Memang kita kena work a lot more okay, to do something like this. Okay, so these are the explanation how we do about. Okay, so the first one we have phase 1 explore. So in this case kan, student memang kita bagi soalan, lepas tu soalan ni base problem based punya soalan, and then they need to brainstorm themselves. Okay, and then they give insight, they collect as many information as possible. Alright, and then later they move into phase 2, which is discover. Okay, yang ni if you notice kan, this one is interesting. I would like to emphasize a little bit more on phase 2 ni because we have 3 phase. Phase 1 tak adalah senang sangat, tapi phase 1 ni kalau you macam keep on prep them, okay, lepas tu you keep on bagi reflection, bagi feedback, and then diorang boleh go on their own tau. Tapi phase 2 ni memang difficult. Phase 2 ni if you notice, okay, bukannya diorang tak boleh buat, tapi they don't have the, kita panggil apa, confidence. They don't have the confidence what they do tu is right. I think this one basically tie dengan they are so used with ada scheme ni. Kan ada scheme of work ni, skema jawapan ni. Sebab I think skema jawapan ni dia macam okay, the idea of scheme is for us kan, untuk kita assess orang tu supaya easier for us to assess. Tapi kalau katakan diorang bagi different answer, kita kenalah buat kerja extra sikit. Yes, tapi kita tak boleh penalize diorang because of different scheme, isn't it? Contoh macam you dari KL, you dari Shah Alam, you nak pergi KL. You boleh go through NKVE, kan? Lepas tu you boleh go through Federal, tapi by the end of the day, you punya intention nak pergi KL, kan? Tak salah you lalu jalan mana-mana, isn't it? So the same thing happens here. Tapi bila you get so used to having people trying so hard to fit with the scheme, dia memang susah. Kami notice ni, discover ni sebab we feel like, oh, we give you freedom to think through, tapi sebab you are so used to getting that. So yang ni kalau you buat kan, the ExDID method ni, you can see, oh actually phase 2 ni susah interesting. Tapi okay lah, once susah tu, diorang learn through and then by the end of the day, they are able to manage getting the development phase ni. Develop phase ni, kita minta diorang construct solutions, okay? Selalunya phase 3 ni tak susah lah, sebabnya yang discover tu diorang dah susah. So bila diorang dah dapat tu kan, by the end of the day, they get to know, oh betul lah, actually I can just simply solve this. Tak apalah kalau salah kan. Kalau salah meaning that the answer tu macam tak make sense. So I redo things. So bila you dah dapat the final version tu, then you develop, memang senang. So easy, alright. So I give you 2 example. Okay, kalau you notice yang ni contoh problem base that we conducted. Okay, this one kan, if you notice, this is to cover topic inequality. Okay, so topic inequality, and the output, we ask them to provide a poster that can include that. Actually, diorang dapat juga buat Excel. So memang cepat, sebab walaupun diorang punya, we ask them, diorang punya knowledge on Excel sebenarnya tak adalah banyak sangat kan, on how they tie the formulation semua, tapi memang cepat because they are so used to being itulah memang generation Z. We need to understand that. Okay, so these are the examples. So if you notice on the poster side, kita ada explore tu one category, and then kita ada discover tu another category, and develop, and then finally they come up with the solutions. Nampak elok kan? So that's what I said. They can do a lot more daripada what they used to. Okay, so these are an example yang pun interesting. Okay, yang ni memang kita bawa semua student pergi dekat apa tu pusat sukan. Yang ni memang bahagian discover tu, yang ni kita minta diorang buat function and limit lah. So memang now they understand, they really understand what is limit, and they really understand what is the difference between the slope that they get to. Sebab they have to do it. Bila diorang lari, katakanlah lari sprinting kan, you lari sprint 3 kali round, lepas tu you dapat different result. Kan, lepas tu kalau you punya kawan buat the similar thing, lepas tu you dapat result lain, the slope tu is different. Now you really understand the meaning of rate of change tu. Sebab you memang berpenat lelah buat experiential learning. Okay, so that makes sense, right? Okay, so yang ni adalah juga LOD yang kami consider lah, practical, teamwork and so on. Okay, so these are some of the example of discussion that they did. Since they are, as I said, diorang memang generation Z, tech-based platform tu memang they utilize easily. Kita just ask them to explore a little bit, bagi contoh-contoh. And voila, they did the rest of their own. Padlet, Linoid, semua-semua tu senang je. Okay. Alright, so these are some of the feedbacks. Okay, feedback ni actually is important for them and also for us. For them to really understand what they are going through, and for us to know what we can improve later on. Kan, dengan kalau katakan ada certain element that we push too hard on them, so next time kita reducekan a little bit of harder. Tapi kalau ada certain things yang macam, oh actually they can do a lot more, tapi itulah, you need to understand your participant tu sebenarnya. Sebab each batch tu pun is different. So empathetic skills tu lah kena improve a little bit. Alright, so human factor tu lah.
Saya mengetahui tentang kaedah ExDID ini apabila saya terlibat sebagai seorang juri dalam program Fly with Maths Day. Di situ saya kagum melihat pelajar-pelajar muda ini dapat berkomunikasi dengan baik, mempunyai keyakinan yang sangat tinggi, dengan semangat yang membara serta dapat tampil dengan idea yang bernas.
Okay, that's some of the remarks. Okay, if you notice yang tadi tu kita linkkan them together, all of them by the end of the semester, kita kumpulkan semua, kita buat conclusion. Conclusion tu meaning that for the rest of dia orang punya PBA learnings tu, kita pilih mana yang paling katakanlah paling best kan. So kita bagilah sikit seremoni yang menang-menang, and then kita ada buat video competition, tapi dia bukannya additional task yang tu memang kita incorporatekan sekali dengan dia orang punya assessment, so that dia orang tak buat kerja extra, and then all the requirement that they need to do tu kita memang ambil kira as part of assessment. Yang tu memang kena be careful sebab kita nak try to be fair. Okay, kita trying to be very very fair, and kita kira juga dia punya bebanan kerja lah untuk sepanjang minggu sampailah 14 minggu tu. Okay, so memang yang pemenang tu memang deserve lah. Kan, if you notice kalau lah I can share with you, tapi kita tak cukup masa, the video that they produce kan memang level dia very creative. You hardly believe that student in their early age in university can produce that kind of video. So it's quite an eye opener lah. Okay, we proceed outside classroom. Okay, these are some of the example of community-based knowledge transfer that we use that we did by using ExDID method. Pun doable, and we can see engagement daripada students, smaller students ni memang very very engaged lah. So kita push diorang untuk communicate with each other, and then selalunya kita buat dalam smaller groups. Okay, so it's very very interesting to see. Okay, so where else for us to apply the XD? Okay, if you notice, I highlighted few alternative or opportunity for you to adopt this SDID method. Okay, all these things we try already. Okay, so classroom teaching and learning done, community outreach a lot. Okay, and right now we are focusing mostly on service learning activity, that one, because we would like to start focusing on the sustainable program. Sustainable program meaning that the program tu dia boleh sustain. Maksud saya sustain ialah kalau you incorporatekan program outreach community untuk katakan satu subjek, you akan dapat participation tu in a sustainable manner. At the same time, you akan improve and improve and improve your delivery. Kan? So, dia punya audience that you touch tu pun is a little bit more. So concept tu sustain tu I think is a way forward for us to move in the future. Okay, if you notice kenapa kita buat banyak global outreach kan? Because we would like not solely on recognition, tapi mostly kita nak dapatkan the success story tu satu. At the same time, we would also like review from other people lah. Sebabnya kita nak feedbacks. So that's why kita buat workshop, and at the same time workshop tu untuk dapat recognition dengan exposure. At the same time kita buat banyak conference participation contohnya, so that people can review what we do, and then kita dapat juga slot invited speakers. So okay lah, quite interesting. Okay, we also go for article publication, module publication as well. So content development ni you can always do, buat je whatever content development as long as you are able to use the SD method, the simple way to do it. So at least your content development tu dia structured content development. It comes from a structured method. Okay, so kalau katakan you nak buat extracurricular activity kan, you nak buat school project pun boleh kan based on this, sebab dia akan ada structure. You boleh, so bila you buat benda based on structure, you akan dapat capture dia punya developmental stage, and then you dapat record. Bila you dapat record, then only you can make improvement along the way lah. Kita pun banyak buat training dengan workshop ni. Banyaklah partisipan, ada tu guru besar, kita juga buat kepada diploma, education punya diploma ni, dengan even we also train students. Okay, idea dia so that students can become trainer for their peers, and the same time diorang boleh approach community at their own level, tapi whatever benda yang diorang buat tu memang in a structured version. That's the idea. So I give you example lah, untuk show kita punya footprint. Footprint kita ada dekat Bahrain, Indonesia, Kedah ni kita buat international lah, international conference. Okay. So kita ada Thailand juga. Okay. Moving forward, kita try untuk dapatkan networking, connection. Kita dah ada connection dengan Filipina, tapi kita akan try buat dengan lebih ekstensif lagi lah, this kind of connection. And then ini contoh-contoh program yang saya kata kita boleh maneuver, kita boleh play around with school. Okay, tie with JPN. Okay. So far JPN happy last time saya dapat inputs, so that will be very good. Tapi itulah, kalau you notice lah, last year memang kita stop. Of course lah kan, last year dengan this year because of the pandemic. Tapi since we don't want the success story to stop dengan the penetration of the community to stop, kita transform banyak program into online lah. So macam last year dengan this year kita banyak move forward into Sulam. Sulam ni service learning. Service learning ni maksudnya kita embed community outreach ni daripada classroom. So it's part of dia punya assessment. So it's quite okay lah, quite good. Dia adalah hiccup sikit, tapi hiccup dia not on the content development, sebab student bila kita bagi training cepatlah diorang tangkap. Okay. Cumanya hiccup dia on the internet base lah. Yang tu lah macam tricky sikit kan, tapi yang tu expected lah kan. Okay. Tapi generally kita dapat good inputs. Especially macam yang yang sulam financial literacy tu kan. Yang ni kita memang penetrate yang adults. So yang adults ni meaning that orang-orang yang tengah nak on the way nak masuk kerja kan, so it's easier for them to ada sikit financial literacy ni lah. So nampak memang very engaging lah, and at the same time kita boleh dapat participation daripada industry player. So it is like so far kita ada triple helix punya connection. Nanti kalau moving forward kita boleh lah buat macam quadruple or quintuple helix, macam tu lah. Sebab networking tu memang key. Yang tu memang we work hard lah untuk dapatkan this kind of networking. Okay, so these are the example of the research and publication for the sake of we try to make it as formal as possible, and at the same time kita dapat a good review. Okay, so IP ni ada few lagi lah coming up. Okay, tadi tu semua success story. Maybe you may ask, success story, are you sure? Tak ada challenge ke? Ada. Kita ada banyak challenges, tapi kita tahu juga how to maneuver. So contoh yang paling susah kan syllabus requirement, tapi macam saya kata, we proceed first slowly, we buat adjustment slowly juga, kita keep on experimenting, and then kita try find the right balance between these two, the requirement of the syllabus, especially macam kalau di higher education kita ada ISO kan, so we maneuver as is, kita tak tukar banyak pun on the ISO tu, tapi we change, tak tukar the requirement of the assessment, tapi kita tukar the delivery of the assessment. Play around lah with that. Okay, so challenges yang lagi critical, extensive preparation tu saya memang acknowledge lah, memang extensive lah preparation, tapi you can maneuver that by building your team dengan do your strategic partnership. Tapi as time goes by, dia tak jadi sesusah masa awal-awal kita try initiate. Sebab makin lama kita ada banyak networking, makin lama kita ada banyak content, and we are more experienced in dealing with certain issues, so senang sikit lah. So time factor ni pun challenging lah for me in particular kan, sebab I have lot more ada of course lah, semua orang pun ada diorang punya own restriction kan, kita ada banyak lagi kita punya isu. Okay, tapi kita perlu bagi constant feedback, tapi through time kita try make sistem delivery tu yang more efficient. Maksud saya ialah instead of you katakanlah gunakan kertas or whatever, you can always transform into Google Drive, Google Form, and the way you dapatkan feedback tu pun you guna channel yang tak susahkan you lah, in the sense of susah tu maksud saya how you give back the feedback tu. Kena ada cari sistem yang work for you and work for the student. Getting a buy-in ni, the only way you memang kena widenkan network dengan you kena build your success story. That is what we do. And for the time being ni, I think what we did previously memang work lah, especially bila kami menang akri tu kan. Okay, so memang uh, people start to ni lah, get lah, we get lah the buy-in tu, Alhamdulillah. Early resistance from student ni pun issue, tapi dia issue yang tak susah sangat to handle, because if you are able to track their progress and you show result as time pass by, memang diorang senang, sebab diorang memang prone to change sebenarnya. Cumanya how you maneuver them lah. So yang ni tak ada isu sangat lah to me, to us. Okay, boleh. Okay, so what are the rewards? To me, what I feel like, I feel happy since I think I'm encouraging critical thinking tu. So bila I encourage critical thinking, dia boleh nampak tau, in 14 years, in 14 weeks tu, you boleh nampak the transparent student behavioural change tu. Yang tu yang saya rasa macam magic. Okay. Sebab you boleh nampak daripada the way they, the way they communicate to you and the way they produce the work is very different daripada earlier version semesters into the late. Sampai even in fact start week, selalunya saya start buat pelupuk-pelupuk, contoh macam service learning tu by week 7 tu normally settle lah, kan. So memang starting from week 7 tu onwards kan, memang nampak the maturity of the students tu memang different. So at the same time, bila you nampak behavioural change of students, you akan automatically nampak lah the change of your role as a teacher tu pun is very different. So interesting. So these are the ways bila kita keep on encouraging critical thinking, kita akan encourage their innovation skills tu. So they are able to adopt technology more quicker. Lepas tu yang paling important, I think, on the readiness lah to the wave of IoT and digitalization. Sebabnya digitalization memang you cannot run away lah kan from them. And you know that digitalization ni dia bukannya macam just for the sake of you a science student, you prone to digitalization. No, dia memang cover all. Kan, contoh macam kalau you going to finance team, for example, sekarang finance team digitalization, digital team kan, you perlukan orang yang bukannya orang sains pun, sebabnya you nak kena tie dengan user experience tu. Kan bila you keluarkan produk yang very digital, you bukannya cater orang yang memang digitally driven, kan, you akan cater dengan orang lain pun yang katakan not used to digital contohnya, tapi you kena adopt, you kena make sure dia orang ease into it kan, into your product. Boleh lah kalau you tak buat benda tu, tapi you tak dapat lah ada participation, isn't it? So benda tu memang semua orang kena. So the only way moving forward memang I think is through the grassroots ni. You develop all the critical thinking ni, tapi nak develop kita tak boleh cakap je kan. You have to get your hand dirty ni lah. So itulah yang I think kita cuba lakukan lah. Okay, so by the end of the day, way forward tu saya tinggalkanlah dengan this particular statement, which I think comprise all dengan reflect everything. Alone we can do so little, but together we can do a lot more. Okay, so that's why we really welcome all kind of collaboration, especially from schools, from anyone. Okay, just drop in us email and so on. Okay, insyaAllah we will reply. Kalau tak in a timely manner pun, insyaAllah we will reply. And we hope to work together sebenarnya. Sebenarnya memang kita nak nurture beautiful mind tu. And then the idea is memang kita nak nurture tu through empowerment for every individual, as many as we can touch. Okay, so by the end of the day, I leave you with our contact details. Okay, you can always drop us an email. All right, and I'm so sorry. I'm taking another 5 minutes, I think. Because it's too much to talk. But if you think you want to, let's say, us having a proper banker, just let us know. Okay, so with that, I thank you and I really appreciate this opportunity. Enjoy the colloquium STEM.